Ebusia, on the 10th September, Wabra President Mahama and the media having engagement. Ana or the two, just say on the US, ako atenase asan krate bia o expect 14 deportees eno no wo jeni ni na ahye yewura samu okuje to abla kwa di hu dwuma na enwonwa ye say as of last week ya na yewura okuje to abla kwa so de ba wetu dwa say yes expect another 40 aba beka 14 na medical by nei aba beto dwa say emu 11 e de Ghana kokko to kwan a ye faso agi wo modu omo atena ye military campus mi ba beto dwai empanyifo bebre ekasetia echese egu Ghana manyani mu ase to the extent say asemimpo yanfa nko parliament amanya ratify no na empanyifo emranimufo meche mashibedwafo antena so antoto niema ya all of a sudden no yajiwe ya tum ye toto ye roku to abla kwa no ewo channel 1 dwumadi so no in fact nsem odi tu dwana arehuye wo se eye loose agreement saying say yewura Dominic Ayene Attorney General ana amane tumi so betima ye na ehun hyeden hia ewo nkrata semu pia busua wo hwe ba bi o man yi kwa na jese twetwe aso bebre ne no enenam so ama the New Patriotic Party at the ababe to abonten say nei omo eba beteki Supreme Court action against the constitutional breaches NDC amanyoko no ba abemu omu gina omu tumi so edi dwuma wa bra nsembia ewo se eko parliament na mranimufo egitumumpo no yese eye loose argument intini ebetima gina etumi so aye na enei ohwe amanfo a etufi bunyiri eko Cote d'Ivoire na Ghana aba yensem eje womo a US for ehwe omo nkrata mu no omo ndibem se omo tena ho a na chesa asem ne etwetwe aso yi na gibre na memfa nkomo no nchemu ento awso.
Another loud mouth in opposition in the person of Okujeto Ablakwa. Hey, a diplomat. Okujeto Ablakwa. This week, Onosun Samo Dia Babe Tujadi, Enrayantinase. And some of Dia Babe Tujado, you wonder, say, hey, na ifana NDC abai, Obadi Ekosado. No, Abisa won't say, is this what we voted for? Yes. Yakai, Ghana went here. So this is where we find ourselves. Ebribia NDC for betna akuyensu. Somewhere 2015, Echo 2016. And yet say, a ye Gitmo 3. Gitmo 3. Or is it 2? Ye who say, Omono, no be a terrorist. Ye diomu from Maimu. Ababe gu Ghana. Ghana for ye who did that. I'm back then. Henry Nana Boachi, a friend and NPP. Or there a young one lady. Oh, lady, is it Magdalene? Oh, cry a DB. But then their lawyer was a year bath wewa. And then Mensia South. Obo MP. Bath wewa they represented two no Ewobra. A year court as in Dibia. Judge a kukudam. And that's now so. With a year atuguba as usual. Dissenting. On the time you're dissenting. Case bia atuguba dissenting. Abasa ruling no echo in favor of Nanabinum. I'll read portions to you out later on the program just to refresh your memories. Sansem wina babesne ko. Amagana Gitmo 2. Omo ehon sabno court e rule ye. Se ekwanya abaino back then efa so a oji omo ebegu omemu ha no. Enya ne kwan so edo no. Very soon I'll be reading portions na me di achiro. Yesat your memu ha last week. And President John Dramani Mahama Oshia nsem chirofo ensema odebeto yedim ne se I see say Ghana yakoje eye Africans bi ebra yen nkofo no soko gbenyire nipa be 48,000 ene obugu abonti egu obi man so Cote d'Ivoire displaced President Mahama nankasa ne backyard Ghana for da ob enda. But last week President John Dramani Mahama meet the press no be catch and say, oh, he said, no dear, yene Americans akoya agreement bia obo no pam nkofo bi efro obo memu obo deport wo na nkofo na Ghana yensaka omo no Nigerians beye 13 and a Gambia din baako eka ho. It's in all nipa 14 and a Donald Trump muntio Donald Trump yimu on payasem obai gina Africans ni odi ye na nse kra na kese Donald Trump invite ye Africans be President Mahama Ghana ni enka ho nipa kakra bi oni omusi nkoya enokra na ye is it Uganda, Rwanda, Eswatini ade ne kekeka ho President Mahama Donald Trump yon fire yehwe what be nkoya na fedie yase ye ni America fo akwa MOU amba ye di nipa be 14 bi 13 Nigerians together with a Gambian ye di omo ba be guga na fo so ye beto aduane amom anopa wi anyubre ya show enti omo di omo eba na okujeto ablakwa honorable enso akwa kotenase oso okoye meeting no body trinko say when America's disease Africa the time be a catch cold obody trinko say I concur the omo beka bia I concur and yet say yemfa eye African see and I say before emra now surprisingly I want to say free and then in 3 days there was this interview on the City TV. A host no Bernard Avle interview Mr. Loudmouth Okujeto Ablakwa. Mede mi say bibi e wo wiase bia onimu. Mr. No all wiase nyina esina beti onim bibi e wo wiase bia. So right after the interview, wa wo hwe bi monitor bi Okujeto Ablakwa was found wanting. He was found wanting. Na no kikabo so say ya. Say enya agreement bi me okay me ba Shadrack me ba no one ma me volume no. Agreement no e kira de say eye MOU loose agreement. I hope na man ti ase. Say agreement no a loose agreement bi and a Ghana ye do akwakoye. Enti enshada enya de bia. The interviewer asked say ade no Aden anko parliament so ratify also we dey loose agreement be nye bia nye ndu sai you know na me kra attorney general na me say Okujeto Ablakwa for heaven's sake what are you talking about? Attorney General Dominic Ayine ena emam say futuo say we dey loose agreement enti any say parliament more ratify. I was wondering say I almost cabinet mu na no attorney general the two omsafo blah 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 after a point in time no question Bernard Avle say na wo di mmra no che attorney general hey just attorney general odo di onye mistake meanwhile edu buahidie or twifa ne bo edu buahidie ketwa ikura no or twifa ne bo say do you know the law much more than the attorney general? As the Ghana for the Yankai Bibia, Attorney General can yes and amen. But me ma what yes it. But who said nana be me shall say be a better line to the nana be at Chimcomo. Get more 2 ruling at the whole. And this if one quad yomo ba no more kofan for the from memo, nobody share Ghana for so. Osaka yes 14 number. Almost akwa kofa e bibrem nkofo bi omo de kra anti omo anko Nigeria minima de anti omo anko Gambia na ye de omo aba begu Ghana fo so okujeto ablakwa ensan beka ne yentie bia ai another 40 crowns so nam kwem eba chese ye de age ahoho yenyen kofo kra do benyiri omo ti Cote d'Ivoire ye de bia ye age ahoho 40 ensan babiu a loose agreement no mo aye not just a gitmo 2 ruling no crowd with all their numbers. So Ghanaians are wondering. Let's listen to SM Shadrach. Africa bitum na yentie and some crowd.
But as the discussion continues, yeah. If it is elevated to an agreement,
the Guantanamo 3, some people took the matter to court, and I think the Supreme Court held that whatever name you give it, when two countries come up with an arrangement, that places obligations on both of them. Whether you call it a treaty, a contract, it requires ratification. It was a majority decision. Only one person dissented. So I'm a bit surprised you're saying because it's an MOU, it means that it oughtn't have gone to Parliament. The judgment was very clear on the Guantanamo 3, that Article 75 was violated, which says international agreements must go through Parliament. And you are a 4th MP, so at least you could have gone to Parliament. And you have a massive majority. So what's the problem?
No, I agree with you. And that is why I said at the press conference I held a couple of days ago that when this is elevated beyond an MOU and it's a full agreement, we will go to Parliament under Article 75 and have it ratified. At this point, it is just a loose understanding.
The agreement is enforced. But how can you enforce? How can you enforce something you call a loose agreement? That is already enforced. You've got 14. You're bringing 40.
Look, I've inherited so many MOUs that didn't go to Parliament for ratification, and
but because of the precedent of the Gitmo 3, I felt like this was, and you know this. So is it an oversight? Are you going to apologize for it, or you don't think it is?
No, it's not an oversight because we sought the Attorney General's advice. It was discussed in cabinet, and the Attorney General's advice and his counterpart, the Attorney General on the U.S. side, also said that look, this is an MOU. And MOUs do not require ratification. That is why
the Attorney General is wrong because the judgment is clear. I can read it.
Oh, you know better law than the Attorney General?
At least the law is there for all of us to read. Unless the English reading of what the Supreme Court said is different.
You see MOUs in that judgment.
The language of Article 75 is very clear. The article forms part of the set of provisions governing the role of the executive arm of government in Ghana's international relations. I read the judgment.
Yeah.
The scope of the article deals with treaties in general. The side notes and the body of the text makes reference to treaties, agreements, and conventions. It is also clear that the instruments referred to relate to Ghana's international relations with other countries or groups of countries, and the article requires that such instruments must be ratified by Parliament. The Constitution makes no mention of any formal distinctions that are dependent on the formality with which such an instrument is formatted or brought into being. Then it goes on to even list MOUs, etc. This is the judgment. This is a Sophia Kufu. I'm not the one saying it. So I don't know whether you're saying because the AG says, in fact, if the argument of the defendant in the state, the government, were to be taken seriously, that the transaction being by way of note verbal, executive agreement, memorandum of understanding, diplomatic note, or what have you, is merely administrative one, then the question arises as to the exact status of the said persons now that they are in Ghana. Are they migrants? It's a long argument. It basically says once two countries agree on something of that nature, Parliament must ratify. It's very clear.
We are working with the Attorney General's advice, and the Attorney General's advice is that when this
this is Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa. I can imagine Okujeto Ablakwa way back in opposition. And NPP, yes, how do you say? Now I wonder. Young call for what Parliament. That's what I say. The mentioned that more boy juma pa more boy juma. But I say now recess India. A boy you Foreign Affairs Committee. You know what's happening? And no could to a black one. The day is you released yesterday. Seems maybe I just have to cross check. And could to a black one way back in opposition. Now dear way up for Parliament. Can you imagine? The Ankabeko so ewo memra deda nkobe but onono de otwo a loose agreement. Hey, I don't want to talk too much, but actually, you be discussing sa issue we say. But me person me kwa humano, so I'm trying to get a nanabi or lawyer Bafwo Ewua to speak to the issue. What should be the way forward? Because you all can lose agreement there. I don't know what we mean by lose agreement. And I mean, you said deportees ni bin so. Say almost so as you buy, they are in detention. Deportees na you free America e buy. Almost you buy, they are still in detention. And it is so much of a lawyer. And you know the lawyer? Oliver Baka Vomao. Oliver Baka Vomao. And the ye deportees ye lawyer. I just say your minor and so betray. And see that twist and turns. Actually, ya the brow e would be so. She say deportees no so almost say they no more bagana. Now say just say they are in detention. Your kind and yes, I no move. Since you are in court, court. It's quite interesting. Yes, we are expecting another 40, but the general you better pay your bedroom. Before back could be able to be account na young coyeni. Adia back conso ABABD FM and they NDC party no. President John Dramani Mahama obatina kwensu enche na chese the 1 year the na ekọ. Na eno NSC edun ketia so ti wodi no se hwe time no se dey fly no manyantema President Mahama oni Julius omobe bobemfe because me show mum yedu na di ma se dey rapport no tie no me esi edun ketia chairman mensi for montema he say Julius A chief of staff oni President Mahama ye fine pa manhwe ya me hu no obo the 6 adane me 9. And President Mahama, obey a presidency, Nansa Yantis or thank you to. Party National thank you to. Afe out of the blues from nowhere. Chairman Esia Dun Ketianso sorry Adopebia or say Okoye thank you to. And on one end this if one say Akra Nanya Nansa Yana President Mahama ne party thank you to. Yen opposition yain ye what power ye poor mine na thank you to no ye be dodo say o se be thank you to President Mahama ye bio nye bio eno no ye presidential thank you to me so be ye parliamentary thank you to it you no dey we winning the president and winning the president me so be na me hwe parliamentary ne ho kro de baso a ye winning bi it be kodomu nyina ase and this if what be so obonti ase. And wait there quickly. Ras Mubarak, one-time MP, member of parliament for a year, the whole the constituency, be referee. And they Okulu of Angola. The last time Ochro idea we moved on in Angola, traveling your paper. And watch the Facebook post me. Quickly, me run it through. And some more countries see a dunketiane say. Thank you tours are led by candidates, presidential or parliamentary into brackets, presidential or parliamentary candidates. If it's a constituency tour, who leads a party into an election in partnership with party executive? Let me take it again. Also, thank you tours are led by candidates into brackets, presidential or parliamentary candidates. If it's a constituency tour, who leads a party into an election in partnership with party executives? Never throughout NDC's history has a national chairman after an NDC victory decided he's going on a thank you tour. Aside what the flag bearer in collaboration with the party has done or is doing, aside what the flag bearer in collaboration with the party has done or is doing, this is a dangerous precedent and an unnecessary distraction to the government. Nobody must be allowed to hide under a thank you tour to advance their premature presidential ambitions. It's intolerable and the chairman must be bluntly told. Nearas Bubaraka Kachina don't get the now thank you to dear. Say your name flag bearer no na NDC abako se muno. national chairman and sorry say or kwakoye thank you to send your words here don't get here wo ye bi ibi NC da enti aside near flag bearer no any party no be no de na chese no ano na na de chairman ye wo ye de ba bia de party no be kwa kwagina no eye nti asempo si say yen ye bu oman enti we thank you to na wo ye no asia ekina say yen kan kire si edun katia ras mubarak na ekun yen si the pay yen kan kire si edun katia say odun adwen bi na wafa no say odun ne private yi bi a wafa no enye ne kwan so no yen kan kire do njai enti sadia obegu party no ras mubarak eno no